Well, good morning or evening or whenever you happen to be looking at this. And I just put this little video together because there was a question on the band director board about how to do a trill on trombone. And there were some interesting answers. And let me kind of go through why not to do some of them. I'm kind of a purist. This is not a trill key, and I really just hate it when I hear people do that. And I believe the note that it started on this particular excerpt was on a D. Kind of gives a little stuffy sound, and again, that's not really what this is intended to do anyway. So it's just not really a trombone thing to use a valve for a trill. I've argued with other trombone and brass teachers about that, but again, I'm kind of a purist. Just don't believe in it. So I would, if you were auditioning for me, I would prefer that you didn't. Oh, who is this guy? I'm Dr. Jeff Phillips. I'm the trombone instructor and commercial brass and whatever else they find for me to do at Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee, and I am a retired high school band director and just retired in May after 34 years of teaching in public schools. So that's me. Anyway, so I don't like the lip or the trill here. One of the other suggestions had starting from D and doing, I think they said from fourth to third, which that just makes you smear. And that's definitely not a trill. That just makes you sound nervous. You could go from fourth out to fifth. But that again sounds a little weird. I don't advocate that either. So, what do you want to do? I know that's what you're dying to hear. It is a lip trill, and a lip trill takes a little bit of time. Well, depending on the player, it might take a little time. It might take a lot of time. I mentioned to the director in question, and sorry I don't remember the name right now, but that I've had some students takes about a week, some couple weeks, some work on this for a whole semester and they barely get it, but eventually everybody will. It's an extension of lip slurs, so it's something that would enhance your playing anyway. So not a bad thing to do for any brass player. If you want just something visual to look at, the best thing that is, you can't see this, is there are exercises in the Arbin's book, and they're the ones called Studies on the Slur. And so that's sort of where I take what I'm about to show you from, but I'm going to go a little bit beyond what's here. But those studies on the slurs start out with two-note lip slurs, starting over on about number 16. Two-note lip slurs, and they start out in half notes, and there's some that they have some alternate positions and things, and then they go to quarters, and they go to eighths, and they go to triplets, and they go to sixteenths, and they go to sextuplets, all on the same notes. So what you do from those exercises is start out at one speed, keep that speed, but you're increasing what I jokingly refer to as the notes per square inch. So those exercises, for instance, start out on, well, I'll just use B flat to D in first position. They start out with like, and they go on through several other notes, but then the next exercise is quarters. And then the next one, they have eighths. Then triplets. And then sixteenths. And then what do I say next? Sextuplets. And then past that, on your own, you get to ridiculousness of, which is your lip trill. How do you do that? Magic. No. But that's the way to start out. And I would suggest, not just, since that the starting note in that excerpt is a D, I would not just go for that note. I would start maybe where I just did, on a B flat to D in first position, and then we're going to do some alternates. But I'm going to do them kind of a medium speed just to show you. So. Then go to B natural in fourth. Once I get from D to F in first, go back out to D in fourth. Then we'll go back out to fourth. Back out to fourth. You can go on as high as you want to. It's the reason I started on B flat, going B flat to D, is because that's a third. If you go in anything else first position, you're going to have a larger interval, and larger intervals are harder in general to lip slur and make clean. So you get that to where they're just gradually faster, and eventually that evolves into a lip trill. So you get from and again, it just takes a little bit of doing things slowly. Really, the first few days and daily is important. If you just hit it once a week, it's going to take you a year. But if daily you just do a simple exercise like that, and you start with half notes and quarters and go through that sequence, then 3 or 4 days later, as long as it's clean and even, then you go to quarters and eighths, and then a few days later, when that gets a little cleaner, you just keep things the same speed, but as far as the quarter note and the beat go, but you're putting more notes in the beat. Does that make sense? And then when it gets to where, well, that's as fast as I can go, don't get discouraged and say, well, I just can't do it. Start back on the half notes and quarter notes, but at a faster speed than what you were doing. And then, so you're just going to overlap until you reach that speed. And with those lip slurs, the other thing to kind of keep in mind, and this is where I think some folks don't get it. We call them lip slurs. My uncle was a very fine trumpet player. Played with the Air Force Band a million years ago. And he taught me how to lip slur when I was a young child. And he said they should be called tongue slurs, and I didn't really understand exactly what he meant until years later. But it's not just making a change here. What you're doing is your tongue is changing position inside your mouth. This is your tongue. So when you say ah for a lower note and you say e for an upper note, ah, e, 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 but as you say e, you make the space inside your mouth smaller so that the air goes through a smaller column. And smaller column of air, higher pitch. And even though that's just a really subtle, barely noticeable adjustment in here physically, it kind of helps push that air up. But you're moving the tongue this way, not this way. So we're not tonguing. It's not a tonguing thing. So we're going ah ee 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 ah, and you can concentrate on doing that when you're doing the slower slurs with the half notes and quarters. And if you kind of get that that little trick going, then you don't even realize you're doing it. It just becomes a habit, and you can do your lip slurs, whether it be in this or anything else, faster. So that's my little video. Hope that was a little bit of help. Again, might take you a little bit of time, but it'll help all your lip slurs across the board. For more videos and fun things like this, I've got one I'm going to be doing on breathing, because I've just seen some things lately that irritate me, and I'm going to have to do one on breathing. But JeffPhillipsTrombone.com. Yeah, JeffPhillipsTrombone.com. That's my website also, and I've got some other just fundamental things that you might enjoy there that are just sort of audiences in general. But hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions, again, go to my website and you can contact me from there, and I'll see if I can figure it out. Okay, bye.